Hi, I'm Alan Thomas from STOP, Southside Together Organizing for Power out of Chicago, and the Woodlawn community is our home base. Well, job creation, it goes without saying, we need some. We need a real economy in the U.S. We don't have one. A real economy is not where billionaires pass around slips of paper in order to make themselves more artificial wealth. Based on what? I don't know, other than, these false ideas. There's artificial housing prices, and we saw what came out of that, the bubble burst and the market crash. We have, one out of every 8 homes is in foreclosure.
Why do you think that is?
As I stated earlier, that the billionaires and the industrialists have decided that they need a very minimal level of manufacturing, that false ideas create more paper wealth and riches that can sustain a certain level of individual, but does nothing to really build the economies of nations and the globe and communities. So,
would you invest in a new technology that came out that was going to employ people?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because that leads to what my thoughts are. People are physical beings. We can't exist off of just trading ideas and calling that wealth creation. We need things. One of the things we need is energy. And we need, as the Gulf crisis has pointed out, the Gulf of Mexico crisis has pointed out, we need to shift from the present unsustainable, raping the earth, taking resources from the earth energy non-plan, and really develop a true energy plan that can find ways in which we can build industries and build new technologies to bring that clean energy to being, and employ people at living and true living wages and higher in order to make that happen. Green for All, and Van Jones talks about solar roof panel installation, green roofs and all of that, and that's great, but that's not really living wage sustainable jobs creation and new energy policy. That's kind of slightly adapted old energy policy. We need to go deeper and broader than that.
Well, let me ask you this. Should the government be developing those technologies, or were you okay with the free market?
No, I think it has to definitely come out of free market hands. As long as we have free market, once they decided to begin to lean away from the old dirty technologies, we had Chevron, Exxon, BP, who are the polluters and the destroyers and the murderers. 11 people died in that Gulf incident. 11 families lost their patriarchs. That's unconscionable. We need the government to be behind it. We need to take the funding from the Pentagon and put it into a real clean economy, a future economy that's based on clean energy. Energy should be free. And where I live, Exelon, ComEd controls things.
That's like Nikola Tesla said, that energy should be free.
I agree. Tesla was a man well beyond, ahead of his time and ahead of our times, and he lived 100 years ago.
Right. Has anyone ever stolen anything from you?
I think BP and Exxon and Mobil steal every time. They definitely stole when I drove what's going down the street now, a Cadillac. Every time I filled up the tank. I think our federal government steals from us when they tax the working class, and when they give those tax breaks to the wealthy, the capitalist class. When Warren Buffett freely admits, without fear of any recrimination or blowback, that he pays less in taxes than his secretary, we have a serious problem that's not being addressed, and we need to get to it.
Right. That's a perspective of many people. Going back to the free energy, though, let's say that energy was free. My question is that, have you ever been robbed, personally, not by a big corporation? Have you seen anyone ever robbed? And is it humanity or human nature that brings corruption in? When something is free, people will try to get in between that freedom and your access?
That's an interesting way to pose that question. Well, yes, I've been the victim of 2 attempted robberies that I foiled. And I think the reason anyone steals from anyone else is because they've been denied or they feel they're being denied. So just because something is free doesn't mean it's going to be abused. I think actually having energy being free would actually empower people to rise to a higher moral level. I mean,
Right.
I think they would push themselves to develop themselves to a higher degree. They would get beyond just the need to provide just enough to get by, whether I have to knock somebody over the head or put a gun in their face or break into their house.
I guess that's why we have government and police and so forth, to keep that peace.
Governments don't keep peace. They enforce. When someone robs your house,
Hold on one second.
it's just.
Oh yeah, the only thing though, they have to be city property. You can't just pass it out. I would go get verification.
Yeah,
You
you
can
can
cut
ask
that
them
off,
because
sir.
Erica, they called Erica Hill.
Can you cut your little video camera off?
Sir, he has.
Sir, no, I don't want to be videotaped.
Yeah,
Cut
Isn't
your
Coleman Young owned by the city?
My
Isn't
man.
it the
No, it's
municipal
not.
center?
No, it's not.
Who's
It's
it owned
owned
by?
by building authority, and it's not a city. This is not city ground. So I
What
would
is
reach
this? I'm just asking you
our
to
conversation's
explain as
over.
a
Can my man
citizen.
cut his
I'm
camera off before I
as a
get pissed
citizen.
off? I don't want to be videotaped. Cut your
Before you
camera
get pissed
off.
off,
Yes, because I don't want to be videotaped.
You're an
Cut your-
employee
That's like that.
on
That's
a
like that
public
congressman
way.
didn't want to get
You should
videotaped.
take a
I
picture
don't
or
wanna
video
be
of anyone on the
videotaped.
public
Cut
way.
your
You are
camera
not entitled to any right of privacy.
My
on the
conversation with you
public
is over.
way.
You